Good morning. It's Wednesday, December 14th. And today I want to talk about China's big problem. Every country in the world faces big problems at one time or another, so this one is one that China must face. And what people must understand is that for every action, there is a reaction. So if you do something is going to happen because you have done that. Now sometimes what happens is minor and it may occur right away, or it may take a long time before it occurs. And sometimes it's major. And the same rule holds true. It can be major and it can happen right away, or it can take a long, long time. And this situation that China is in right now is something that they caused because they had this one-child policy. And so now, many years later, this is coming back to haunt them in some shape or form because they have an aging population, right? But they don't have reproductive resources to increase their population because they reduced the size of their population by using this one-child policy. So now China's population increased by 480,000 last year. And they have the largest population in the world, 1.4 billion people. But the question is, can they keep producing and increasing the population? Because the current population is very aging, and the young couples are having fewer children. And remember that the young couples are part of that one-child group. So there aren't that many young couples around. Now, China's health department has announced that the population will peak in the next 3 years. But there are many that believe that it's going to peak much sooner than that, right? And many even think that this year might be the year of population decline. I mean 2023, not 2022, but 2023. And this is after many years of falling birth rates. There was an article published that China's population growth had slowed significantly and that it will decline between 2023 and 2025. So I told you before that the population increase was 480,000 people. But the birth rate for the fifth consecutive year was down to 7.5 births per thousand people. And only 10 million babies were born in 2021. So that's not good population. That's the lowest number since 1949. And there's been a major shift in attitude. In the 1960s, China saw a major baby boom after the Chinese famine, the Great Chinese Famine. And in a bid to control the rapid population growth, the government launched the one-person policy in 1980 that restricted most families to having a single child. And that brought down the country's population growth rate, right? But that policy didn't end till 2016. So think of that. 36 years, one child being born to a pair. Now, how does that affect this country going forward? For 36 years, they controlled the population growth. And now, even though they have 1.4 billion people, the young people are not anxious to have lots of children. And you got an aging population, right? And you didn't increase that. So you're going to be stuck with the situation where you may not have enough people to run the country and take care of the businesses. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but there have been predictions about what the size of China's population will be in the year 2100. And that prediction is that the population in China will be about 740 million. That's half of what it is right now. So how can China continue to be a world power and a business giant if their population is slowly disappearing? And let's understand the fact that brain power, the ability to come up with ideas, the ability to grow industries, the ability to shape the world is dependent upon the youth in your country. And they have limited the size of the youth in the country. So you've got that 36-year gap that they can't make up very quickly, especially when the younger population right now is reluctant to have many children. And another factor that's contributing to this population mess is the fact that people are not getting married as early as they were before. In China right now, the average marriage age is 29 for men and 28 for women. And in 2010, it was 24 years old, and the men were 26. So there's been an entire shift in the attitude of the general population. So when we look at this, we had the big reduction in births that started in the 1980s. And all the baby boomers that were born in the 1960s are now in their 60s. So in the next 10 years or so, and maybe a little longer, China will see a huge surge in its older population. And I guess they're talking about people over 70. And that will become a major challenge for their society, because you will have more than 30% of the population in that age group. That's a very difficult situation to try to run a country when most of the people are in their 70s and 80s. Well, not most, but 1/3 of the population. And an aging population means a huge expense for families and a fiscal problem for your government. So now China has to start thinking about how they're going to take care of their aging population. What are they going to do about the aging challenge? And let's face it, there are many countries that are not happy with China, and I don't know that they're willing to help them that much. So China has a big problem to cope with over the next 15 or 20 years. And that will definitely affect their situation on the world stage. As a point of comparison, the U.S. with 330 million people in it, its population by the year 2100 is expected to be about 340 million. A very small increase, but no decline, no serious aging problem that's going to affect us. But we will have so many other problems, we won't be thinking about that. So I leave you with that this morning. China is in big trouble, and I don't think there's a very easy answer to their problem, because you can't stop the aging of the population, and you can't increase the population just like that. Of course, maybe they want to take some of the immigrants from our western borders, our southern borders, but I doubt that. So have a great day, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.